Well, much of America has hung its hopes on a coronavirus vaccine to beat the pandemic and get back to some sort of normalcy. But while some effective vaccine candidates, they might be ready even by the end of 2020, people, they might be hesitant to line up and actually take the vaccines themselves. In fact, a new CBS News poll found that more than 2/3 of Americans, 70%, they'd either wait to see what happens when others take the shot or they would never get one. And fewer than 1 in 3 would get the vaccine right away. So it seems there's a lot of convincing to be done. Joining me to discuss, vaccine expert and chairman and CEO of GeoVax's, David Dodd. David, it's good to see you this morning. Do you trust the poll that 70% of Americans, they would either wait or not take a vaccine at all?
Well, I'm not surprised because I think Americans tend to be suspicious in general, but I also don't believe that actually 2/3 would say they would not take it. Sometimes it's how the question is asked. My guess is if they had asked the question, do you think your neighbor ought to take it, or should someone take it, et cetera, I think you would have seen a higher response. From what we're seeing in general, that most people are looking forward and hoping with the vaccine sooner than later. But this also underscores the critical importance of public health education about the importance of vaccines in general, and very specifically related to COVID-19. We probably need to see such an effort initiated at least 3 months before we have availability of the vaccine to educate people, to address questions. It's not surprising that such questions would be there, so we need to recognize that and begin to educate people and inform them.
David, are you still hopeful that we could see something by the end of 2020, maybe beginning of 2021?
Well, I recently said I think it's going to be more like the first half of 2021. There may be an announcement of completion of a clinical trial with some promising results in 2020. I don't believe we'll see an availability for utilization and adoption of it, but I do think it's fully feasible to see this happen between now and the first half of next year.
Okay. That at least gives us somewhat of an idea of a timeline here. We're also learning that some vaccine developers are saying that we must wear masks and socially distance even after a vaccine is available. Why might that be the case?
I think that's simply trying to indicate to the public that when a vaccine comes out, it doesn't mean you drop your guard. I think this is simply saying we're going to have to go through a transition period. Personally, and very just on a personal opinion, I think the transition, once there's a vaccine available and it's being administered, will go rather quickly. But I do think we need to be cognizant of the risk of infections of many different types of infectious disease, the flu, the cold, any viruses. So there should be a transition, but it's not going to be long-term, everyone wearing a mask.
Are you confident that that vaccine would be as effective? We've known that some of these trials have kind of sped up because we are so desperate to find this vaccine. Are you confident that it would be effective?
The question is how effective, I think, because, as you know, they've dropped the bar to about 50% to say that if a vaccine demonstrates 50% efficacy, they believe that is sufficient to be able to license it and distribute. That's awfully low. We see low efficacy rates in flu vaccines, but time will tell. Some of the technologies are unproven. There's a lot of promise there, but we've never seen them utilized and demonstrated to validate high efficacy. But there are really 3 points we have to look at in a vaccine. One is certainly efficacy. The other, which is just as critical, if not more so, is safety, and then durability. And that means we have to go back and continue to get boosters. So those 3 parameters of safety, efficacy, and durability are critical to being able to demonstrate that it's time for a vaccine.
David, do you think it'd be likely that we'd have to get 2 rounds of this vaccine here?
I think with the current ones, the RNA vaccines, such as Moderna and others, it's going to require multiple dosing. Our technology is a different technology. It takes longer to bring it to clinical trials, but it has been validated over the last 50 years to show that it works by and large in a single dose without a booster and without any adjuvants, meaning additional components. So I think we're going to see a variety of vaccines, and some are going to be tailored, such as ours is one that is focused very specifically for people at high risk. So for people who are elderly, who have comorbidity, that's where the type of vaccine that we produce and that we've developed is more than likely going to be utilized. And I think something such as the Moderna will be for the general public, let's just say from 15 to 55-year-olds.
Okay, interesting. Still, it seems many months away and many questions here. David Dodd, thanks for answering some of our questions today. We appreciate it.